Absolutely. It's your show.
Welcome to Tommytruthful.com. I'm sitting here with Brother Lama today. What's up, Brother Lama? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Tommy. Great to be with you and your audience. And I'm really excited that we're going to be doing this regular. So this is real exciting for me, brother. Good to be with you today.
Yeah, you too, brother. And my people, they were so excited. They wanted me to talk to you about Shangri-La and Inner Earth. And there was this part, they said it was like the home of Vishnu, his 10th or 11th incarnation. I can't remember. They called it his 11th or 10th avatar. And there's all these stories about beings being under Earth. And at first I was very submissive when I heard it. They said there's this like reptilian race that been there forever. So I started looking into it and I found all these newspaper articles from 1934 in Los Angeles where it was on the mainstream news that they talked about these catacombs under LA and lizard people down there. And they said that they were working with the Hopi ancestors and this cataclysm came from these meteors that took out like the whole West Coast at one time, a long,
Uh,
long time ago.
yeah.
And they
Yeah.
built a civilization down there.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
we've known about this, and it's not necessarily our llama series involved, but we are very aware of but people have to understand that 3 and 4D just overlap all the time, right? So people go in and out of these portals constantly, and in the process they got to understand what people, when you're so attuned into a lower frequency in 3D, you don't realize that jointly that all these different beings are occupying the same space, but they might be vibrating a couple frequencies higher than you do, and all these realities exist. Portals have been created for thousands and thousands of years. The key is, Tommy, is that most portals are a spiritual organized body of people, call them what you are, sometimes religious, sometimes non-religious, and they get together and start doing penance. And in the process of that group consciousness, it begins to open up a portal. And I'll give you probably one of the most recent portals that opened up in America. People can go there today. It's right off US 9 in Black Mountain, North Carolina, right outside of the Asheville, about 30 something minutes from Asheville, North Carolina. Cherokee Indians did penance there, very similar to what the mystical group, the Essenes, did by the Dead Sea before Christ was born, right? And so they opened up a portal, a really good one, to 4D. And that portal comes down off of what's referred to as Bald Mountain there. So when you're down at the bottom end of the portal, you can look up on Bald Mountain, and the portal diagonally is visual to most people. You can see it coming down like a shoebox, if you will, Tommy. And then you can see the giant swirl. And there was a piece of real estate built back about 30, 40 years ago to the bottom end of that portal. And that portal, there was a dome building built at the south end, and a lodge, kind of today it's a bread and breakfast there. And it actually comes to the porch because the guy that was the caretaker of this building, he used to go out there and meditate, and he would go in and out of that portal all the time. So
wow.
that portal is one of the most, if you're in America on this in the southeast, I mean that's an easy one to get to. And if your people ever get interested, I can send you the link and they can go right there to that portal. But that's real powerful. As we know, there's 3 portals in Sedona. There are three portals in
There's
Sedona.
one in New York too. It's called Thompson Park Vortex, and people actually like disappear in it, dude. It's pretty
Yeah.
crazy. And like with the reptilians, is that tied to the Nephilim, or do you know?
I definitely have heard of the reptilians in California. That I have heard. As you know, you've heard me say the lamasery is pretty clear that there are 9 to 12 different races that are on the planet Earth that have human DNA in them, but they're mixed with all other beings from other places. So they've affirmed that there's at least 9 to 12 people. But then there is a group of people, Tommy, that fall in the bloodline of Adam 175,000 years ago that was placed here. So that's also a truism. So, we got people, and the reptilian is one of the races because they've been here for a long time. Now, here's the key. These 9 to 12 different human sects that came from different places, they were here 200,000 years before Abba put Adam on the surface. And he says, you know what? I can't alter free will of any human because then I would be breaking my own law. But he says, what I can do, I can start a rescue mission, and I can create a woman and a man, Adam and Eve, and put the purest form of my DNA in them. And then with hope that they would educate the rest of humanity and turn them back to the light and the energy. And what you had here, you had all kinds. I mean, you had the reptilians, you had people that were more intellectual.
Are they bad, the reptiles?
Proven abductions that I can share with your people about is a woman that was abducted back, I guess probably, I want to say 50, 60 years ago. Her name was Elizabeth Clare Fielding. She wrote a book called Beyond the Light Barrier. And she goes back with this guy that in their solar system, you know how we have one sun and it's a pulsing star. They had three. The
well, I think we have a binary system myself. But
well, we have another sun behind the sun that we have that is more in the 4D frequency, like we were talking about. What people have to understand, just because
you don't think there's one inner Earth like they talk about? They call it the black sun and the twin to ours.
Well, yes, a lot of people make reference to that, and that kind of, it makes sense. It's been called different things.
In Buddhism, the legendary city of Shambhala is one such place. Many believe that the city is located deep beneath the earth. 1 Buddhism and Shambhala. Shambhala is a Sanskrit word that means a place of peace or a place of silence. It is mentioned in Buddhist and Hindu texts. In Buddhism, Shambhala is specifically mentioned in the Kalachakra Tantra as a unique place that exists within our own planet. Shambhala is a kingdom where humanity's wisdom is spared from the destructions and corruptions of time and history, ready to save the world in its hour of need. A commentary of the Kalachakra Tantra states, collective evolution. Traditional Buddhists believe the place to exist somewhere in the Himalayan/Tibetan region. According to Tibetan beliefs, Shambhala is guarded by unique beings with immense supernatural powers. Some have reported seeing them. People who search for Shambhala are said to either end up discovering the place or perish in the process. Those who succeed choose to remain in Shambhala, cut off from the rest of the world. Shambhala being located inside the Earth is also supported by the hollow Earth theory, which propounds that our planet is largely hollow, containing significant interior space that might contain vegetation and life forms. However, Buddhists are not the only ones obsessed with the idea of Shambhala. The Nazis were so smitten by the concept of a spiritual utopia that they sent several teams in search of the legendary place. 2 Nazis in Shambhala. In the Himalayas, a Tibet expedition in 1938 was intended to produce new findings relating to early Germanic history. The Nazis believed in a Nordic master race that was supposed to have survived the demise of the legendary Atlantis. In Tibet, so the theory goes, these people of Nordic origin are supposed to have constructed the underground realm of Shambhala, traces of which the expedition hoped to find, according to above top secret. The expeditionary team apparently came across a surprise in Shambhala, a group of extraterrestrials. The beings refused to cooperate with the Nazi war efforts. Instead, the extraterrestrials offered to travel to Germany to help people in their spiritual development. This is believed to have led to the establishment of the Vril Society, an occult group. One of Buddhism's highest figures, the Dalai Lama, believed that only those with a pure mind could visit Shambhala. Although those with special affiliation may actually be able to go there through their karmic connection, nevertheless it is not a physical place that we can actually find. We can only say that it is a pure land in the human realm. And unless one has the merit and the actual karmic association, one cannot actually arrive there, he said in a 1985 speech, Ancient Code. Shambhala is also mentioned in Hindu mythology as the birthplace of the 10th avatar of Lord Vishnu. Named Kalki, the incarnation is prophesied to appear on earth when evil reaches its peak. The avatar will destroy all wicked people and help the surviving good ones to usher in a new golden age that will last for 10,000 years.
Welcome back. I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again for being. Welcome back. I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again. Back. I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again for being. Welcome back. I'm talking to Chris Rock. Chris, thanks again for being.
In the Bible, the book of Genesis named them the Nephilim, then the book of Enoch, where they are the angels, the Watchers. Many historians and scholars agree that the ancient Sumerian texts were the basis for the Old Testament. These stories are all one and the same, documented and changed into many variations throughout the ages, the most recent of which is the biblical account of God, or Elohim, as the latest representation for Anu, the earliest known god of the sun and sky. His angels are in fact Anu's sons and his entourage. Over many generations, much knowledge has been lost, rewritten and changed. Yet we do know they conquered the earth and enslaved all of its inhabitants, forcing human beings to build huge structures that could be seen from the skies. They sinned against the women of the earth, creating bastard offspring of unwanted and abnormally large children, referred to as giants.
In the Bible, this race of giants are called the Anakim. They are mentioned in the conquest of Canaan by the Israelites. According to the book of Numbers, Anak was a forefather of the Anakim. The Bible describes them as very tall descendants of the Nephilim, the daughters of men and sons of gods, and also fallen ones who existed before the deluge. Anakim means sons of Anak. The people of Anak are the most frequently mentioned of the giant or Rephaim class in the Bible. Remarkably, so tall and formidable were these sons of Anak that their name and reputation became a byword in Israel. The quote was, "Who can stand before the sons of Anak?" The Anakim, or also called Rephaim race, are where the legendary Goliath traces back to. We often find parallels between accounts from various ancient sources, and the Annunaki are no exception. In the book of Enoch, where they are mentioned by the name of angels, watchers, and of course, the Nephilim. There are many similarities between the Sumerian tablets and the Bible. The story of Cain and Abel, the story of David and Bathsheba, also the story of Noah.
Where did they come from?
The term Anunnaki has been translated in various forms and is the source of much controversy. Renowned author Zecharia Sitchin claims he has translated them as "those from heaven came." Many scholars claim their interpretation is "those of royal blood" or "those of princely offspring." brings us nicely to the recently coined planet, Nibiru. Again, using ancient Sumerian carvings, Sitchin translated some exciting hidden knowledge. Knowledge that challenges us to rethink our past. The Sumerians were said to have learned astrology from the Anunnaki, and this afforded them an in-depth knowledge of our solar system. They did in fact manage to observe and document Venus as well as Saturn. Ancient carvings in the stone tablets show the various planets, and most incredibly they depicted the 10th planet. The 10th planet being a very large planet called Nibiru, originally the Anunnaki's home planet. From studying these texts, controversially, Sitchin translated the legend that this planet actually orbits the Sun every 3,600 Earth years, and in doing so, it comes fairly close to our Earth. Travelling on a huge elliptical orbit, this giant crusader loops into outer space, far out into our solar system, to eventually, after 3,600 years, circle back. This returning planet would cause all kinds of problems for us. Earthquakes, tidal waves, volcanic activity, probably many more unforeseen effects due to its mass, density and eventual closeness to our planet. When you consider our small moon, 1/6 of our planet's size, can affect our tides so easily, imagine what mayhem a huge, giant planet could cause should it manage to pass close to us. On the 30th of December in 1983, the Washington Post had a front-page headline that actually read, "A heavenly body as large as the giant planet Jupiter, and possibly so close to Earth that it would be part of this solar system, has been found in the direction of the constellation Orion by an orbiting telescope aboard the IRAS. So mysterious is the object that astronomers do not know what it is." NASA have also recently conceded that there could very well be a large hidden planet out there, purely due to the gravitational effects they've been observing in our solar system. We do know that recently our modern astronomers have detected a 10th planet larger than Pluto and nearly 4 times farther from the Sun as Pluto is today. Is this actually Nibiru? It is temporarily called 2003 UB313. The new planet is the most distant object yet seen in the solar system, 97 times farther from the Sun than the Earth is. Whatever you choose to believe, the controversial premise states that the Anunnaki came from the planet Nibiru, which orbits our own Sun on a massive long elliptical orbit. And when it gets close to us, the Anunnaki take the opportunity to planet hop. When we consider the question, why did they come, we need to revisit the first tablet of Lord Enki. Here, we will briefly cover some of the main facts of the Sumerian translations so we can see the story as it unfolded in the ancient past. Chapter 1.1, this tablet explains a nuclear war on Earth between the Anunnaki and the current inhabitants. It speaks of an evil wind that looks to be radioactive and kills everything in its path, resetting the Earth, preparing it for a new chapter. Chapter 1.2, this covers the Anunnaki's home planet Nibiru. Wars are described, as are seemingly nuclear battles, with eventual peace and a kingship established. Chapter 1.4 explains how their planet was losing its atmosphere, how they needed to find a way to shield it for the era of the passing of the Sun. The plan is to create a shield, although this decision was not established before the killing of a king. As the fable explains, brother kills brother, reminiscent of the biblical story Cain and Abel in the book of Genesis. Chapters 1.5 to 3.2 cover an incredible tale of how the new king tries to heal Nibiru by using atomic weapons in volcanoes Seems he was trying to pollute the atmosphere with smoke and dust to partially block out the effects of the sun. However, this does not work. This opens the opportunity for a power struggle. The old king is forced to flee Nibiru in a spaceship and eventually land on then an icy planet, our Earth. Once on Earth, the king realizes there is usable air, and he marvels at the fruit and the fishes, and he sees it is good, and finally he finds traces of the salvation needed to heal Nibiru. He finds traces of gold.